Welcome to the Chairman's Perspective Podcast. Chairman.
You're listening to the Chairman's Perspective. I am your host, Van Turner Jr., and I'm here with my co-host, DC.
Yes, sir. I'm right here.
He helps to keep me straight around here.
I try.
We have another, yes, sir. You do more than try. You do more than try.
I'm all right.
We have another great show planned today.
Yes, sir.
One of my colleagues is here. One of my esteemed colleagues, the Chairman Pro Tem of the Shelby County Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Mark Billingsley, will be visiting the Chairman's Perspective today. So put on your seatbelts. We have a great show ahead of us. And you're again with the Chairman on the Chairman's Perspective, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
The Chairman's Perspective on the KUDZUKIAN Network. Keeping it real, right, and funky.
Is this an opportunity that we can seize and express interest from the governor and the state to act on the behalf of young people in Shelby County? There are stories that we don't want to tell because they will piss some folks off, make some folk mad.
Funky politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network. KUDZUKIAN! The Chairman's Perspective on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
We're back with Chairman's Perspective. I am DC, sitting here along with the host of the show, one and only Chairman, Van Turner Jr. How are you, sir?
Doing very well. It's good to be here with you, sir.
I tell you, it's a little warm in the city today, but we still here, though, right? We still here.
That's right.
That's what counts. On today's show, as we promised you, we've got another chairman, by the way, vice chairman. I think you guys probably know each other, work together, something like that. But anyway, we've got Vice Chairman Mark Billingsley with us on the Chairman's Perspective Day. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Wow.
I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem at all. I think we have to do this, right? It's like you got to have a vice chairman. You can't have a vice. So we don't even have a show, right?
Right.
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman. I know you got something burning on your heart. What you got?
So, Commissioner Billingsley, Vice Chair Billingsley, you are now the longest serving commissioner on the County Board of Commissioners. And the burning question that we have.
It's burning. It's burning now.
Are you having fun yet?
Oh, I've had a lot of fun. I love my job. I love this position.
Yeah.
I love the community. There's nothing like Memphis and Shelby County. I love my colleagues. It's really been my pleasure to work with Van Turner, Chairman Turner, these past years. We've got a dynamic commission, and I'm always having fun.
Well, and talking about fun, you have been, this isn't your first, as they said, your first rodeo, right, Mr. Chairman? So this isn't your first rodeo. You served actually in Germantown as well.
I have.
As an alderman. So what drove you to public service? What started you in public service? And has this been a lifelong dream of yours?
You know what? I'm from Memphis. I've spent my entire life here. I grew up over off of Summer Avenue. Grew up next to Treadwell High School.
Kind of that Graham area a little bit over?
Yeah, more toward Highland.
Yeah.
Right next to Treadwell. Loved that area. Grew up, my parents still live in the area next to Treadwell. Really, my public service started as a young man when I was about 16 years old. I've always tried to give back. Yeah. I went to St. Michael's School over on Summer Avenue, and then went to Christian Brothers High School, went to University of Memphis.
Oh, you said it real. You said Christian Brothers, or you said White Station?
No, Christian Brothers High School.
Boy, the brothers.
Hey, I like the Spartans too.
Yeah, we call them the brothers, and we didn't call them the brothers for a good reason.
Oh, I understand.
They whooped our butts a bunch of times out there, but wow.
Yeah, but I started young in public service. Instead of having other hobbies, it was the thing I could do to give back. I'm not very athletically oriented like the chairman is, so it was my way to give back to the community. And so over my lifetime, I've served on lots of nonprofit boards. I've been a volunteer policeman in Germantown, and then I became a city councilman in Germantown, and then had the wonderful honor of becoming a Shelby County commissioner.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, as we know, Shelby County is the largest county in Tennessee, over 900,000 people.
Wow.
And I'm on the outskirts of what would be called the city and the beginning of unincorporated county. And you're very westward, if you will, as it relates to Shelby County. You represent a pretty good sized area of the county, and we're neighbors, actually.
We are.
And so could you describe for our listeners exactly the area that you represent?
Absolutely, Chairman. I represent South Cordova, Germantown, Southwind, and Windike, all the way down to Chairman Turner's district. more on the south side of my district. Represent 72,000 people in my district.
72.
You know, when the commissioners changed the districts not too long ago, we really became more representative of our areas. So 70% of my district is really the city of Germantown. Very similar to some other commissioners. Correct. Like Commissioner Wright really represents Bartlett. Commissioner Mills is in the Lakeland area.
Millington, yeah.
Yeah. Germantown is certainly a big distinct part of my district, but also I represent South Cordova and Windike and Southwind. Actually, about 3 of my big areas will soon be de-annexed from the city of Germantown. I mean, so from the city of Memphis, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. So you get new kids in, basically, is what you're saying.
Well, we got lots of kids in my district. You know, my district is very unique. We certainly have a lot of seniors, but we also have a lot of young people in South Cordova and Germantown.
Wow. You're listening to the Chairman's Perspective right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. And let's get into the weeds a little bit about, you said most of the district is Germantown, so that's a pretty significant piece right there.
It is.
How many folks in Germantown?
About 40,000. It's settled. When I was a city councilman, we're about 42,000, but you know, some people have moved from the city of Germantown, but we're holding steady at 40,000. We've had some seniors that have moved. You know, when you get older, you want to have different accommodations. Sure. But we've even built some retirement communities in Germantown. So we're holding our own in Germantown. Very vibrant area, great quality of life, great police, great firefighters, and a lot of people in Germantown that reach out beyond their boundaries. And that's really what I've tried to do. Right. Is to look outside of my district. I spend a lot of time in my district, but I've also tried to spend just as much time trying to help other districts. Sure. I've been very blessed, and my district is very blessed to not have as many challenges as some other commissioners have. And I say to my citizens all the time, my constituents, you know, we've got to look beyond our boundaries to help some of the folks that are unfortunate and homeless and those with mental illness. And so I really challenge a lot of people in my district to look beyond our boundaries.
That's a pretty good way of thinking about it, man.
So if we look, the Mayor Lee Harris was a city council person. Ed Ford Jr. was a city council person, and you were a city council person. So we have 3 officials within county government who at first represented the cities within Shelby County. What's the big difference between being a city councilman of one city and a commissioner of 7 cities?
Boy, Chairman, it's a great question. You know, it's less topics, honestly, in the county. As you know, we focus on healthcare, public safety, education, and economic development. Now, there's only 4 topics there versus in the city of Germantown, you're literally dealing with everything from a pothole to
trash pickup,
everything. I've even pulled a deer out of a fence before for a citizen who got a deer stuck on their fence. You do everything at that level, and it was a great preparation for the county. Even though we have less categories at the county, it's a heavy wheelbarrow to lift every day because the issues with education are huge, as Chairman Turner and I know. The issues with our public safety are immense. Economic development, we've got to do a better job. We're striving to do that. And then with healthcare, we just recently broke ground on a new health department building. So it's less categories, basically, but heavy lifting in each one of those areas.
Wow, that's amazing. And as I said again, not only Germantown, you said Windike, and you just got Windike, you just got you're just going to be getting pretty soon, South Cordova.
Well, I've had them, but they will go from the city of Memphis back into unincorporated Shelby County.
So basically, primarily dependent on the city to now dependent on Shelby County government.
That's exactly right.
Wow. So I guess, man.
Well, this has been great. I know the listeners are appreciating this wonderful dialogue with the Chairman Pro Tem. Let's
get that title right, Chairman Pro Tem.
Billingsley. That's better than saying Vice Chair. We'll be right back with the Chairman Pro Tem, Mark Billingsley.
The Chairman's Perspective on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Jazz, America's own original musical art form. When did it start? Who were and are some of the major players? How do you distinguish what kind of jazz you're listening to? We talk about the great and lesser-known artists, songs and tunes, the instruments, and the social impact jazz has had on world culture since its beginning at the start of the 20th century.
Riffin' on jazz on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Hello, this is Sheriff Floyd Bonner, Sheriff of Shelby County, and you're listening to the Chairman's Perspective, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
We are back with the Chairman's Perspective. I'm sitting here in the pilot seat along with my co-host, DC. And our guest today is none other than the Chairman Pro Tem of the Shelby County Board of Commissioners, Mark Billingsley. And we've been talking about his work within the community as a Shelby County Commissioner. And now let's talk about the work of Commissioner Billingsley as far as his work in the private sector. Yeah. So, Commissioner Billingsley, let's get into your work with CBU, one of our city's premier institutions of higher learning and education. And what role do you exactly play there at CBU?
Chairman Turner, thank you so much for asking me. I am Vice President of Advancement for Christian Brothers University. I've been very, very blessed to be there. I've actually been there a fairly short period of time, about 18 months.
Wow.
Prior to coming to Christian Brothers University, I was major gift officer at Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare for the last 10 and a half years. I don't tend to move jobs very often. I stay a while. I'm one of those.
Nothing wrong with that, you know that.
No, I don't move very often. I've only had about 3 jobs in my life, and they've all been with different nonprofits.
Wow.
But it's really been a blessing to be at Christian Brothers University. We're right in the heart of Midtown and Memphis, and we're right at the corner of Parkway and Central. The university is 147 years old, and in 2021 we'll celebrate 150 years of Christian Brothers University. We're actually the oldest university in the city of Memphis. Mm-hmm. And so it was based on LaSallian values by the Christian Brothers that are worldwide. Mm-hmm. The Christian Brothers actually started 300 years ago this year. Mm. And the university is very, very unique. It is a diverse campus. 97% of our students are on scholarships. Tremendous amount of students are just like me. They're first-generation college graduates. They're really 70% of our students work, and so we have some tremendous students that come throughout the Mid-South. 80% of our graduates stay right here in Memphis and make a really good living. But it's amazing to see our student body. We also have over 200 DACA students. Wow. And so our university is very safe in lots of terms.
DACA is the
our deferred immigrants.
That's right.
And so they came to this country. They didn't really have a choice. Their parents came in, and so great diversity of our student body. If you go into our cafeteria every day, it's not a typical university where you see the athletes in one table and another group of people over here. It's a great melting pot of students from all over. We also have some international students. Unfortunately, because of politics, we've seen a tremendous decrease in our international students, especially we're known as being an engineering university.
That's right.
And so it's unfortunate, but we're seeing less international students that feel comfortable coming to the United States. But we're still holding our own. We have almost 2,000 students at Christian Brothers. Average class size can be 12 to 14 students in a classroom. So if you don't show up for class,
they'll know.
They're
going to know. And honestly, they'll stop on the parking lot and say, Mr. Billingsley, why weren't you in class today?
Exactly. That's wonderful.
It's really good. A lot of students choose to be there. And again, I'm really proud of how many students we have with such diversity who are first-generation college students.
You're listening to the Chairman's Perspective, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
So, Chairman Pro Tem, how did your experience and your job as director with Methodist Healthcare Foundation assist you in your new role with CBU?
Thank you, Chairman. I've always been a fundraiser for respective charities, and so for 10 and a half years, I raised money for all aspects of Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare. I used to raise money for hospice or oncology or cardiology or some need inside the hospital. Methodist Le Bonheur's got 7 hospitals throughout this community. It's a wonderful organization. I think my ability to work with people and build relationships is honestly what really well prepared me for working at Christian Brothers University. And I tell the people at Methodist Le Bonheur all the time how much I miss them. But I've also been around, unfortunately, sick people for over a decade. Yeah. And I used to raise money, significant dollars, for transplant in Memphis. And at Methodist Le Bonheur, they do kidney, liver, and pancreas transplants right here in Memphis each and every day. And right down the road at Baptist, we're very blessed at Baptist Memorial, they transplant hearts. So honestly, it's really building relationships. I built relationships for over a decade, trying to strengthen healthcare in the Mid-South. But now it's really fun. I have to say it's fun to be around younger people who are very, very healthy and very vibrant, that want to have more opportunities. And 97% of our graduates get a job immediately upon graduation, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a pretty good statistic.
For the workforce, and they're getting paid really good jobs.
And I want to stick right there, Commissioner.
Sure.
And Christian Brothers University, University of Memphis, Lamont College, Southwest Tennessee. Oh, God, you name it. We've got them right here. Memphis Theological Seminary. It goes on and it goes on and it goes on, right? With respect to the citizens, and let's not just joke around, we have an impoverished city.
Absolutely.
Much. And so there is a role for, I think, higher education. In your estimation, the CBU and University of Memphis, are we doing enough to try to be not only an employer, but also a needle mover? Is there something else we can do with those non-4-year degree seeking students? And that's posing to both of you guys, because you're coming out of Morehouse and out of UT Knoxville. We will say UT Knox very lowly here, because it's a flagship university.
He's a Morehouse man.
Yeah. We should call him a Morehouse man. We don't even talk about Knoxville.
Okay.
Right? So both of you, I just pose it to you. What role does higher education play in a city like a Memphis, right?
Well, I think when you look, and I'll let the chairman pro tem answer as well, but when you look at Atlanta, Chicago, DC, for heaven's sake, I mean, because those cities have such wonderful universities and colleges, just those students alone staying in those cities move the needle. Yeah. So Atlanta is what it is today because a lot of those folks down there graduated from the universities and colleges in Atlanta. Same with DC, Chicago. So I think it is absolutely critical to have institutions of higher learning do well within your city and county so that your city and county can do well. What do you say?
Absolutely. It's Christian Brothers University. We say enter to learn, leave to serve. And I think that's what we see of our graduates. We try to instill that while they're on campus, enter to learn, leave to serve. And so many of our students leave CBU and they graduate. We have a very high graduation rate. Wow. And 80% of them stay right in this community. They go to work in our community. I think, honestly, we're one of the best kept secrets in town.
I'm not so sure you guys are a secret.
Well, I don't know. We can do better.
I'm old now. I'm not going to say how old I am. I wasn't around when Moses was here, but I'm telling you, CBU has been something on the radar that I've seen for years and years and years, and I'm going back 30 years.
Well, we've been blessed for 147 years. I'm really excited about the 150th anniversary of Christian Brothers University, and again, the Christian Brothers have been in worldwide for 300 years. 300 years.
We're going to put a pin right there, Commissioner. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
With more right here on the Chairman's Perspective on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Chairman. The Chairman's Perspective on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
R&R on Sports is proud to be on Sirius XM.
So what's R&R stand for?
Real talk and relevant sports issues.
It's racial and relative. We're brothers from the South. We can relate.
R&R on Sports on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
We are back here with the Chairman's Perspective. I am your host, Van Turner, and this is my co-host, DC.
Yes, sir.
And we are here with the Chairman Pro Tem of the Shelby County Board of Commissioners, Mark Billingsley. We've been discussing his work in the private sector with CBU as well as with the Shelby County Board of Commissioners. Yes, and Commissioner Billingsley, very quickly, what do you see coming out of Nashville that either benefits or kind of puts Shelby County in not the best situation? We've had a number of bills we've watched in Nashville with this General Assembly. What's your take on it so far?
Well, Chairman Turner, I'm very, very disappointed. Our entire county commission took a position that we were against school vouchers. That was Democrats and Republicans. All 13 of us voted against supporting school vouchers. We sent our position to Nashville to our representatives, and they didn't listen to us. And so it's becoming more common, quite frankly, that I think they think in Nashville that they know better than we do. And it's really disappointing. I think it's, we all have a choice where we send our children, but, our public schools are our base. And for a lot of people, that is where most people send their children. And that's the option that they have. Mm-hmm. But to undercut public education with school vouchers, I don't support it. I'm also Catholic. I went to Catholic schools. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a choice my parents made. Yeah, that's right. But again, that was a choice. Mm-hmm. And they've really taken, I really think they've undercut us at the state level, and I'm very, very disappointed.
So that's real choice, all right? The real choice is, hey, if I want my kid to go to Catholic or MUS or even a White Station, I'm not gonna sit in the grass anymore overnight. But I know what I got to do to get that kid over to the White Station.
Correct.
Right? And so that's how it works. Well, hey, look, one other thing I want to get you on, Commissioner Billingsley, and that is we got Memphis in May around the corner. It's growing by leaps and bounds. We're reconfiguring Tom Lee Park. We've got Union Road. I mean, everything seems to be going so right in Memphis, right? The suburbs are doing one. Nobody I see is failing right now. So we look like a great community. But why is it that we still have citizens here that say, nah, we're still not better than Nashville. We're still not better than Atlanta. We're still not better, Mr. Chairman, than Charlotte. I mean, both you guys. I mean, you're sitting there. You got to be saying, what the heck else can we do, so to speak? I mean, I know there's work we've got to do in poverty. We know that, right? But there are some amenities we have in this city that man, really kind of, we're almost at the top of the line on this thing. Mm-hmm. You know?
Well, Chairman, I believe our greatest asset is the people of Shelby County and the citizens in the city of Memphis. Mm-hmm. Our greatest asset are our people and the diversity of our community right here in Memphis. Mm-hmm. I don't know that you have a community as generous anywhere in the country than Memphis. And you can look at every data thing. I raise money for charity. Some of the most generous people are right here in Memphis and Shelby County. I think we can always strive for excellence. I know Chairman Turner and I believe that. We have some things we have to work on. There's systemic issues across this country right now with opioid addiction and mental health issues and public safety issues. Quite frankly, those problems are always going to be there. Yeah. But, I've always tried to promote our community. I've been blessed by this community. I made a choice to stay in this community. And so I think the glass is half full, not half empty here in Memphis and Shelby County. And also you can choose to be a sideline quarterback and be a critic, or you can get engaged. That's what Commissioner Turner and I have tried to do over the great number of years, and especially now working as colleagues really close as chairman and vice chairman of Shelby County. I think there's many more things that Chairman Turner and I agree on relative to this community than we disagree on. But it's interesting how the media and others want to always focus on the negative. So if you want to talk about another shooting, guess what? If you go down to Florida or New Orleans or wherever you go,
they're doing the same thing, right?
Doing the same thing, but we don't talk about the positive. And I think, the red sells in the newspapers, but we're, quite frankly, I think we're our own worst enemy.
Wow.
So, I think to your point, lots of really good things coming up with Memphis in May and really throughout the entire year. If you want to do something fun, you don't have to go to Nashville.
200 years this year for both the county and the city, right, Mr. Chairman?
Right, 200 years.
Wow.
200. So that's a great milestone for the city and the county. And are there any particular festivals or events which are occurring in your district, Commissioner, or in Germantown?
You're listening to the Chairman's Perspective, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
We've got lots of exciting things that are going on in District 4, which is my district. We have the Germantown Performing Arts Center. We have some amazing shows.
GPAC, been there.
GPAC. You can see anything from rap to ballet to symphony, you name it, you can see it there.
That's right.
Right there in Germantown. We have the Germantown Festival. We have the Germantown Charity Horse Show. Great diversity of activities. Tons of parks in Germantown. Same way in Cordova. You get game day baseball in Cordova, which is part of my district.
Oh, wow.
Down by South Wing, you got Mike Rose Soccer Complex, which is real close to my district and your district.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's lots of choices, and the super majority of the things are free.
Right.
And I, throughout our entire Mid-South community, I know Chairman Turner and I want to see more children from Memphis and Shelby County at Shelby Farms. I
was going to ask you about, is that in your district? Or is that?
No, that's actually going to be Chairman Mills or
Henry Mills, okay.
Or Wright, maybe.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
But it's not you guys.
It's not us.
And that's the largest urban park in the country.
Yeah, it's
right
beautiful.
here in Memphis and Shelby County.
Nothing like it other than in Central Park in New York.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got a little bit of Central Park right here in Memphis.
You do.
But we want to go to Central Park in New York. Yeah, I don't know. Get out of here.
Nah.
Well, finally, Commissioner Billingsley, the hardest question out there, I think that a lot of our listeners really want to know this is, and that is, will the Tigers win the AAC? And will we end up in the Final Four? Because you're Memphis, you're a Tiger fan like I am, you're a Tiger great like I am. Come on. Give me some hope over here. Give me some hope, man. Give me some hope.
Well, hey, I'm the vice president of Christian Brothers University. I need
and we play you guys too.
Hey, and guess what? A couple of years ago,
I don't want to hear that one.
Who beat them?
Show's over. Chairman's perspective is over.
The brothers.
The brothers beat us. Literally,
the brothers beat the University of Memphis. We'll never forget it. May never happen again. But
the joke behind it, right? God was on your side.
Well, God's always on all of our sides.
He was coaching that day over there because, man, you guys got us that time.
We're blessed with the University of Memphis, Christian Brothers University, Lemoyne, Owen. We're blessed with lots of
Southwest.
Oh, yeah.
Man. I forgot about Rhodes College.
Oh, yeah.
All right, folks, I'm sorry. I forgot about Rhodes College, Mr. Chairman. They'll be calling in. They'll want me fired. The Rhodes College people will. But anyway.
I wish the Tigers the very best, and so many dynamic people, and to see Penny given back to the community is absolutely huge with Mike Miller at his side. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, and just what he did before he came to the University of Memphis at East High School, honoring his friend that lost a battle and picked up and took those young men to a new level. So, I mean, again, a great Memphis story about how we work together, how we move the needle forward.
That's right. Tony Matlock's over there at Memphis too.
Right. Oh wow.
Tony's homegrown right out of Memphis.
Former point guard.
That's right. I think played at Melrose, right?
That's right.
I will not speak ill of Melrose on this show. I will not do that.
Please don't do so. Well, this has been great. We'll be right back here with you on the Chairman's Perspective on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
The Chairman's Perspective Podcast on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Hey, I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels.
And I'm your co-host, Williams Brack. And Grindset takes a deep dive into the mentality of the entrepreneur in Memphis.
This show unpacks the entrepreneurial journey. What's your Grindset?
So make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, or your favorite podcast provider.
Grindset on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN! Mr. Chairman, I'll say this. Commissioner Mark Billingsley, Chairman Pro Tem Mark Billingsley, is a wonder. I'm sure to work with you every day downtown, and also just the work he does with Christian Brothers University, and just to hear about the diversity of that university. I've been around it for better than 30 years, and I can tell you every time I'm on that campus, I feel pretty warm. They treat you well over there,
right?
And the work that they do, man, with minority students and with those international students, I mean, it's wonderful. And this guy was an alderman in Germantown at one time. So
absolutely.
This ain't his first rodeo, as they say, right, Mr. Chairman?
No, sir. And his take on the voucher program.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, he's standing up to people in his own party.
Wow.
For Memphis and Shelby County.
Wow. That's an ally.
So he's certainly an ally, and he certainly reaches across the political aisle to get things done. And it's not whether you're a Democrat or Republican, it's you're a Memphian, you're a Shelby County first.
Wow.
And I think he exhibits that in what he does day to day. So this was a great show. I appreciated having the Chairman Pro Tem on the show with us today. And I believe we had another great one.
No, Sarah, let me tell you something. I know we had another great one. I think we're gonna beat them this year. Memphis is gonna beat CBU. I'm claiming it, Lord. I'm claiming it right here. We're gonna beat them this year.
Well, this has been, again, another great show. You've been with the Chairman on the Chairman's Perspective, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network, and we'll see you next time.
The Chairman's Perspective Podcast. Executive producer, Shelby County Commission's Van Turner. Hosted by Chairman Van Turner Jr. and Darrell DC Catron. Recorded at KUDZUKIAN Studios. Directed, produced, and distributed by KUDZUKIAN.